Welcome to the Heavy Lifts podcast. Today we get to talk to Roanna Gingrich, who is the owner of CreativiTEE, which is a retail clothing store that also engages with some really, really fun stuff. We talk about that today. We learn about Roanna. She's got such a fantastic multicultural background, and we talk about her thoughts about downtown Salem, and we talk about how she got into this whole business. No AJ this time around. We'll have the transmitter with us for the next episode. Welcome to Heavy Lifts. I am so excited to be joined by Roanna Gingrich. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Really excited to have you on. And we were just talking about these paddles and what they're here
are they for?
Yeah. So we had a guest on. His name was Chris Blackburn.
Okay.
And Chris is notorious for getting off topic. So what we did is we created these paddles. Didn't make them, but we put the number $20 on them for every time Chris got off topic. And, Chris is very mindful of money, and he actually stayed on topic the whole time, and we didn't have to paddle him, I don't think, once. So we've kept these things around so that we stay on topic. So at any point in time, if you get off topic, you could get hit by the paddle, but I don't think you will.
No, I don't want to get hit by the paddle.
Yeah, I think you're going to be fine.
No,
and if something happens and I go off topic, you could hit me. So it goes back and forth, $20. But
we'll just chuck it across.
Right.
The table, here you go.
It might hurt, but okay. That aside, I am so grateful that you came on because you are a downtown Salem business owner. You have such a cool concept in your shop. I actually just a week ago got to enjoy it with our downtown stack team, and I wanted to just say welcome to the show and thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, can we dive into your background, because we were just speaking a little Spanish beforehand.
Yes.
And that was really, really fun to kind of banter, and you got the Peruvian accent because
Eso también.
Yeah. Claro que sí.
Claro que sí.
Pisco
Mi mamá
sours.
es de Peru.
Yeah.
My mom's from Peru.
Okay.
So I always say I'm Peruvian, just as Peruvian as I am from the United States. So there's a little bit of that in the store too. So we try and bring in the Peruvian culture and some, obviously it's a lot of my art in there. So, that's comes through in that as well.
That's funny. I didn't even notice when I went in there. Was there is alpacas? Are those like Peruvian?
See, well, we say the llamas. Alpacas too, but it's always the llama because everybody knows the llama. I'm like, no, it's a llama. But anyways, we have some Peruvian items, some things from Peru, and then I have a whole feminine empowerment series. It's all in Spanish because it's of shirts and designs. Just because I feel like it incorporates the word itself. The verb is the woman, as opposed to saying the brave woman. It's la valerosa. It's all encompassed.
Valerosa?
La valerosa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Or la poderosa, the powerful woman.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you don't have to say woman because it's, ends in an A. That means it is of the woman. Anyways, I was like, I'm going to use Spanish for these designs. So
that's beautiful. I didn't even notice when I was in there, so forgive me.
It's okay.
In terms of that influence.
There's a lot to see.
My radar wasn't on for that. Can I make an assumption that with that kind of focus, the Peruvian influence, that your mom was a really important influence in your life?
Oh, definitely. Both of my parents have been really important influences. We traveled a lot. We visited family a lot. So I always am like, oh, Peru is beautiful, wonderful. But I never did the touristy things until I was in high school. So for me, Peru was, seeing my cousins, seeing my grandfather, and my Peruvian grandmother lived in Norway my entire life. So there's that piece too. So we'd go to Norway to visit my grandmother there. So it was always, my mother lived in Peru her whole life until she was married and then moved here. And that's a whole other story, but she thought she was, excited to come and the Beatles were here. There's going to be parties. It was going to be all this fun stuff. And my dad, is from the Mennonite background. And so he was studying to be a pastor at the time. And so she came into this Mennonite world that was totally different than her imaginings of the United States. And so it's just very, very different worlds. And they're still married like 52 years. Anyways,
Wait.
it's
So
wild. It's a
I
really
need.
good
Can I?
story.
I gotta peel this one back. So first of all, my first comment is I love the Norwegian connection.
Yes.
My family has Norwegian roots. I
Uh-huh.
lived there for 2 years,
Okay.
and speak Norwegian, which is my third language,
Yeah.
aside from Spanish, but
Huh.
nowhere near as. I don't speak Spanish as well as you do, but that's amazing. What do you know? What part of Norway she was
She lived
from?
in Bergen.
Oh my God, Bergen
Yeah.
is like my favorite
Hmm.
city in the world. It is just such a beautiful
So
place.
pretty. Yeah,
Yeah. So you got to
absolutely.
visit Bergen
Yeah.
when you were little
When
to
I was
visit her.
little, I mean, yeah, so went to my aunt and uncle who were adopted were my age. She had adopted um, some Peruvian children, and they were raised basically their whole lives in Norway. So they were my age, and I went with them to like preschool. I remember being very little and like not wanting to go. I'm like, I don't know in Norway. And somehow I have an older sister. Somehow I was the only one that went with my mom on this trip, and she's like stuck me in there for the day or two or the week or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I was
Oh.
like, I just remember the brown cheese. I was like, I don't want the brown
Uh,
cheese. I was like,
Brunners,
please,
that's what they
no.
call. Oh
I was like,
no.
whatever that brown cheese was like, it was
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
I was like, I
They
can't
didn't
do
make you
it.
try the lutefisk, did they? That
Oh,
was
probably. The
yeah.
lutefisk probably
Yeah.
didn't bother me as much.
Okay.
I don't know. It was whatever the brown cheese that at the little
Uh,
nursery school. I was like, I can't do
amazing.
it.
So
Traumatized to this day.
your mom came over because of the Beatles from
No,
Peru?
well, she came because she got married. So she and my dad met and fell in love. And yeah, but her idea of like the United States and
Yeah.
like she's like, it's, the 70s. Like I love the Beatles and which the Beatles aren't from the
Yeah,
US
of course,
anyways.
but
But
yeah.
anyways, she's like, it's
Yeah.
gonna be like she saw on TV or like how people told her. And I was like, um, in the Mennonite world, Mennonites at that time especially don't dance, and she's was very much like love to dance. That's part of Peruvian culture too. So
Yeah.
it was just like very two completely different lives and worlds
And wait, how
that
do they meet?
collided.
Yeah, what was the meeting?
So my dad during the Vietnam War, he was a conscientious objector, which is part of the Mennonite faith, is a peace church, and so um, if he was drafted, and so part of that is you have to do alternative service. So his alternative service was in Bolivia, and he worked at a leprosarium in Bolivia, and then ended up being a bush pilot in the jungle in that area.
Oh, wow. So
It's a
for
wild
people,
story.
did you say a leprosy?
Leprosarium,
Leprosarium. So like for
yeah,
people
who
who have
had leprosy
leprosy.
at the time.
Yeah,
Yes, they
okay.
would separate. Like there
Yeah.
was like a leper colony because they would separate people with
Oh my gosh.
leprosy. Which, anyways,
Yeah.
um, and he ended up extending his time, and
Okay.
his mother came to visit, and so he was showing her around, and they went to Machu Picchu. My mother was a flight attendant on the flight from Cusco back to Lima,
Oh, no
and that's how they
way.
met.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
and kind of the rest is
Yeah,
history.
I've been on that
Yeah.
flight. That's amazing. Not the same one, obviously, but amazing. So she's a flight attendant.
Yeah.
Your dad was a passenger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
He's a conscientious objector.
Mhm.
And they met. And then when did they move to the States?
Very soon after, I mean, it's like love at first sight kind of a situation. It's very, my mom when I was young, she's like, "Don't tell anybody this story." So now I don't know.
Well, Mom, it's on the podcast
Yeah,
now,
watch
so there
out.
we go.
Um, yeah, no, it was probably. I mean, he finished his time and then came back to Lima. They were married in Lima, and then they moved to the States. So yeah, it was yeah.
Okay.
Very, very much a huge learning curve for both of them. I think they both, were young and had these ideas of what life is like. And,
Sure, sure.
you know, you
And
jump into adulthood and you're like, oh.
they ended up in Salem. Is
Yeah,
that
they
right?
ended up saying, yeah, my
Okay,
dad grew up in
awesome.
the valley of Oregon. So
Okay.
that's
So near here.
back near family. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And
Yeah.
so you came along. Were you
Yes.
first, or you have
I have an
siblings?
older sister.
Okay.
So I'm the youngest. I'm the
Right.
baby.
Okay.
Yeah. So just the two of us. But
Okay. Okay. And
yeah.
what was childhood like for you?
It was lovely. I mean, like I said, we traveled a lot. You know, I went to private school, so I and have been a public school teacher for many years, so it's also kind of dichotomous for me. But I'm like, yeah, I grew up in the Portland area, really, for the most part. We lived in Venezuela for like 6 months when I was in grade
No,
school.
okay.
Which I love Venezuela. I'm like, oh, I wish we could go back to that area. You know, it's really sad. There's some beautiful
Yeah.
areas. And then was in high school in Salem,
Okay.
what used to be Western Mennonite High School. It was a boarding school at the time.
Oh,
So I was on campus and lived there during the week and home on the weekends, which was
okay.
also lovely.
And what
Um,
were you into in high school in terms of like your hobbies or other than
I,
school, of course?
the nice thing about a small school like that, so I did basketball and volleyball. I tried track for a short time, and theater and music, so a little bit of everything that was available.
Okay.
I was like, all the things. I was like,
Tried
can
everything.
let's do it
You
all.
sure
Yeah,
did,
no, I
yeah.
mean, yeah, that's always been my thing. I was like, I want to do everything. Like,
Okay.
there's time
Yeah.
for everything
Okay.
if you, just figure out how to juggle things.
And were you into the arts at that point in time?
So a little,
Or I should clarify the creativity side of
yeah,
arts.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've always liked to make things, so it's kind of more always been out of function. It probably started more in college where I'm a biology major,
Mhm.
and I always would listen, but I needed something to do. So literally one of my first designs that I put on a shirt was something that I doodled on the side of like a college paper because I was like, "Oh, I like that. It's really tiny. Like maybe we can blow it up and add some color and
Yeah.
try something." Um so that's kind of out of boredom of like sitting in classes and listening. And I'm like, I'm not a sit and listener very
Mhm.
well. So I'm like,
Mhm.
and then I remember coming back from college one summer and I was like looking through the J. Crew magazine that was really popular. I was like, I want this bikini. I want that, and I was like, but I can't afford it. So I'm just going to sew myself something. And so I just
Oh,
started like playing and sewing. And I'm like, well, this is going to work for me.
yeah.
So it's
Okay.
more just out of like, there's got to be a way to make it or do it or figure it out,
So out of a little bit out of boredom, a little bit
Yeah.
out of necessity
Yeah.
in some cases.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little
So
both.
what did you graduate with in college, or did you get through
So
college?
I
And
did, yeah. I
okay.
graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Biology, and then my plan had been pre med,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm much more of a people person, I realized. And so I had planned to look at social work. I was like, I just will use my Spanish and plan to move to Portland. And in the process, I think I was selling Cutco knives for a summer before the next like school year would start because my brain was still on school years, and I've apparently never gotten out of that.
Okay.
Um, ended up selling knives to like the head of the HR in Salem Kaiser, and she's like, "What are you really doing with your life, Ro?" And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
you put it that way.
yeah."
Oh
I was like,
man,
"Well,"
what's
it
wrong with
explained
selling
the whole
knives?
like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna, thinking about social work in Portland. She's like, "Oh, you're bilingual." I was like, "Well, my mother. She taught Spanish in
Yeah.
Salem Kaiser." I was like, "Yeah, I'm bilingual." She's like,
Mhm.
"We really need bilingual special ed teachers or
Uh-huh.
elementary ed teachers." And that had always been in the back of my mind as a possibility. And so I ended up kind of jumping into this program where they were trying to have more bilingual teachers in the Salem Kaiser School District, and done some work with adults who had exited the system, kind of working one on one with adults with disabilities. And I was like, I really enjoy this work,
Yeah.
and so ended up getting my master's in special ed after that, and staying with the district for a few years, and then teaching in the Marshall Islands for a couple of years, and then coming
Oh.
back and back into Salem. So yeah,
So I'm
all
really
over.
curious on a couple of items.
Yeah,
First one is working with special needs. Like, what do you find so rewarding about that work?
I um I feel like so many individuals with disabilities are really misunderstood, and or they're expected to behave in typical ways. And it's to me it's a challenge to figure out like why they tick or like how to support. So one individual that I worked with early on, um, it was it was trying to figure out like how do I support and not try to bend to my ways. Like how do I understand? It's my job to understand you. It's not your job to fit into what this world has created or our society. And so to me, like the challenge was part of it, and then rewarding to see people thriving and being able to be out in community without having behaviors and being a part of that. Like that was my challenge. I was like, I want you to be in our
Mm-hmm.
community. I want to be there with you. I want you to be be successful and a part of the community as independent as you can be.
Right.
Um, and how can I help with that? So that's
Hmm.
kind of been that's the real rewarding part to me.
So
So
you almost saw yourself as an interpreter of some sorts, right? In some ways, like being able to like figure out how somebody communicates and how they tick, right? And
yeah.
then kind of figure. And would you, with using those that understanding, then
hmm
would you be able to then help them with their communication, or was it just like you were still kind of the liaison, so to speak?
So no, the goal is always for as much independence as possible. So I think there's always strategies, no matter where they fall on the spectrum of their disability or their abilities, right? It's there's always room to say like, let's try this. If you try this, maybe the outcome will be different than when when we presented it this way. Um, but it's also educating everybody else. I mean, like, hey, um, you don't things don't always have to like fit into your little boxes.
Hmm.
It's much more beautiful if you just allow people to be themselves and you can see the beauty and the difference of somebody who thinks differently, who processes differently. So I think it's on both ends. I was like, it's important not to try to, people want to, we're going to fix or support this person because they're different than our norm, the norm standard that we have set. But I was like, if you think about across cultures, everybody's different as well. I was like, there's norms for each culture, each
Totally.
society. So I think about, who we've defined as having a disability, right? Because that's also a construct that we've created.
Yes.
Um, as trying to like let's think about why or what we're saying, and let's also support both sides in saying like how can we find some common ground here, and so that we both can understand each other. Not it's not it shouldn't just be on one person.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like your worldview at that time, like the travel you've done and your influence of your parents, probably had a lot to do with you being open, right? And to understanding that like there's some social norms here, there's some social norms here,
hmm
but this is a niche where I feel comfortable and I feel like I can help, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and respect for you for that. That just sounds like such a challenging job, and the fact that you took it, like and you just were able to figure out like there's so much I can give and so
hmm
much you receive.
Yeah,
It's wonderful. It speaks to your your mindset. So that's great.
thank you.
Um, so I'm curious, now how do we the next chapter of your story. What is it? You were is it 17 years you were
17
in
years I
special ed?
taught special ed,
Yeah.
yeah. And then in the summers, so because it was, education, summers were off. And I used that time just to create. I was like, I'm not the like go sit on the beach kind of vacation person. Maybe more now, but like I've never really been. I'm like, we're gonna go do something. If we're gonna get together, let's go do. Um, and so in the summers, one of my friends was like, "Will you paint my surfboard?" He was having a surfboard made. And he's like, "Will you paint my surfboard?" I was like, "You want me to paint your surfboard?" I was like, I do like really abstract stuff. At the time was much more abstract. I mean, I still do abstract stuff,
Yep.
but he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, it might not be what you want." He's like, "I don't care. I just want you to paint it. I like what you do." I was like, "You're giving me free reign." He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." So, I went into this surf shop where they were having this built, and they had all these spray machines with all, I was like, I'm not going to use the spray. I was like, I don't know how to use your spray machines. That's not how I do art.
Hmm.
And the guy he's like, well, no, that's kind of what we do. I was like, yeah, well, can I just use a brush with the paints? And he's like, oh, yeah, but nobody does that. I was like, that's okay. Like I don't know how to use these.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do art with these.
Right.
So anyways, I you know, proceeded to hand paint the surfboard. Um, and then kind of what came of that is he was starting this like logo t-shirt business, and he was like, "You should put your designs on shirts, Ro." And I was like, my first thought was like, "No." I'm like, "I don't
Okay.
want to put my designs on beefy tees. Like I don't wear beefy tees." And he's like, "There's women's apparel." I was like, maybe. I was like a hard sell. I was like, I don't know, maybe. Like it's like I just want to draw it and I want it to magically appear on a shirt. I was
Okay.
like, I don't want to mess with all the big machinery or all that.
Yeah.
He's like, well, let's figure it out. he's like, just send me the designs. Well, anyways, it turned into this whole thing where I started finding the apparel that I liked. I started drawing things. We played with the colors as we were screen printing.
Okay.
I'm a really big anti-technology person, so I was like, I
Uh-huh.
don't want to. Everything's literally still to this day like hand drawn.
Yeah.
Um, and so I started selling at the market at Portland Saturday Market, at Salem Saturday
Yeah.
Market, and just
What
kind
what
of
years was this?
ooh before 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably been before then. That's when I got my like first official business license for rofe designs was 2010.
Okay.
2010, yeah. So
So
when you first start out and you don't know what in the world you're doing, you just kind of like make things and sell things at these little
uh-huh.
markets. And so that's what I did. And then it kind of just grew from there. And I really wanted like a mobile storefront. And so I have a little teal trailer that I've had for probably 8 to 10 years. Um, timelines don't make sense for me very well. But I found this old trailer and we gutted it and we refinished it. And so I was like, I'm going to take this to the markets and I'm going to take it all around. And so it was kind of like basically our mobile storefront, and we
Oh,
still take it to the market here and there, the Salem Saturday Market.
yeah. And
Um,
what was the experience like then for a customer for you?
um, what was the experience like for a customer
Yeah,
when they
so
would come?
meaning like when they're like so they're gonna come see you, like they're not just
Mhm.
coming to just buy a t-shirt. There's something else involved. It sounds like there's some customization, right? Or
Kind of.
or what?
So at that point in time, it was more like my designs on apparel. But
Okay.
people would ask for like, they're like, so that's how the current business that I'm in started. Like they were
Yeah.
like, I want a rainbow hamster, and I'm like, oh,
Rainbow hamster.
that's literally one of the asks was a
Yeah.
rainbow hamster, and I was like, okay. I was like, well, certain designs people would ask for, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sketch that. This would be something other people would like, and we're gonna screen print it, and we'll put it on a variety of shirts. Great.
Okay.
But people were like, I want it like in a few days. I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. I was like, I have to do the art, then we create the screen, then we create, the transfers, then we pick the shirts, then we put it on the shirts. Like it's a whole process. And they're like, oh, I'm not gonna wait 3 weeks,
Of
3 weeks
course.
to a month. I'm
So
like,
yeah, okay.
okay. So that was where this whole idea of, there has to be a better way
Mhm.
for me to like be able to create these custom designs. And so that's where I was talking to my friend again. I was like, we need to just make some ink sheets and then I'm just going to cut designs out for people. And he was like, you don't want to cut designs out for people, Rana. And I was like, so let's just make these ink sheets and
Okay.
then we'll go from there. Like I was just
Okay.
like, let me just repeat what I said because,
Yeah.
and so then we started playing around. I was like, I want a 3-color ink sheet. I wanted the rainbow one. I was like, I'm going to do this rainbow hamster.
Mhm.
And so I would, created this ink sheet, drew the hamster, did some things, and I was like, here's your rainbow hamster. And so I started creating custom one-offs for people. Um, and then I was like, this is something that anybody could do. Like, why, I don't need to be the one making it for people. Anybody
Sure.
can make this.
Yeah.
So took it to a family reunion, and my, aunts in their 70s and my child who was 2 at the time, we're all there. And I was like, everybody's making a shirt today. I was like, here's the ink, here's your shirt. We're gonna, for this family
That
reunion,
was
we're
your
all making
trial
shirts. Yeah.
run.
I was like, here we go.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it was funny to see all the different layers of, my uncle who's like, well, I'm just going to have my granddaughter do it because she does art so much better. That hesitation of like, I can't,
Mhm.
to the kids who are just like, wow, I'm going to do
Yeah.
whatever. I don't care. This is great. I'm happy. Um, yeah, to see how it works. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And I was like, I'm not a pusher for sales.
Yeah.
I'm like much more of a people person. Like I have people come into the store and just chat, honestly,
Mhm.
sometimes.
Mhm.
Don't buy anything. And I'm like, that's fine. Like,
You're right.
that's what we're here for.
Sure.
Um, so I always knew I was like, if I ever have like a brick and mortar, it can't be just a place where I sell things.
Mhm.
And so that's where the whole thing came up. It's like, I really want a space where people can come in and create their own shirts, um, and make
Yes.
things and sit down together and, make something functional, a functional
Yes.
piece of art. So,
And I love that so much because I think we're entering an age where just having brick and mortar and just selling some good
Mhm.
or service isn't good enough. Having a combination, right?
Yeah,
Having a place where you're interacting is just
absolutely.
so important. And I got to go into CreativiTEE
Yay!
last week, and I was just blown away because we were trying to, go in and celebrate local businesses in Salem,
Uh-huh.
and Ash was there,
Yeah,
your
Ash is great.
one of your employees, and she was just like so kind and helpful, and we found like this perfect like black and pink hat. We're like, hey, can you put stack on there, like STAC? She's like,
Yay!
yeah, no problem. And like she just like busted it out.
Whipped it
It
out.
was, it was great. She carried on the conversation the whole time.
Mhm.
And I'm like asking her the whole time, I'm like, wait, what else do you do? Wait, you do parties? Wait, you do team building? I was like, this is incredible. Like,
Oh,
what a
yeah.
great concept. So yeah. So when did you get the brick and mortar? Like, what year was that?
So, yeah, we opened like did a soft opening February of 2019, did our
Okay.
grand opening March of 2019. So we were open about a solid
Oh
year
man,
before COVID
right
hit.
before
Yeah.
COVID. Oh no.
So I feel like we had a really good trajectory. Everybody was excited. Like if you look, well, if I look back at pictures from early on, I'm like, it was empty. I mean, it was compared to today, it was much more like creation focused.
Yeah.
So we didn't have the amount of retail that we have today.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, people were really excited. In Salem, I think the hard part is you get that initial excitement and that momentum. If you can keep that momentum going, that's great. But
Yes.
if there is some sort of block like
Mhm.
COVID that like stops those people who know about it
Yeah.
already know,
Yes.
and then there's not the like transfer of like these people are going to share with other people because there's this huge block of time of something that like interfered with that
Oh yeah.
initial. I was like, so my first year I was like, we're headed, this is great. And of course, COVID turned us on our head. Turned a lot of people on our head, but it's really changed the world for retail just
Yeah.
in general, or brick and mortar, like people coming together. Um, so yeah. Uh, anyways, we shifted and we got some more retail stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
in,
Yep.
and we were doing like online creation. So I was Zooming with kids in Hawaii and in other states where I'm
Oh
like,
gosh.
I was like, I'll be your hands. Tell me what you
Yeah.
want. It's very different, but it was like
Uh-huh.
something that they could do for
Yeah.
a half an hour while their parents
Yeah.
were working.
Right.
And so we did that for a short time, and then slowly we're like, do you want your group of two to come in, make an
Uh-huh.
appointment?
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and I think we're still to the point where like, how big of a group? How many do you want? What does that
Right.
look like? And
Sure.
it's not I mean, it's COVID related, but it's not due to the illness, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more just that mindset
Yeah.
of like, oh, I'm not used to so many people anymore. Or the kids who were in this bubble for so long, right? They're like, oh, it's weird
Interesting.
to be connected with that many.
Right.
So anyways,
Yeah. So can you tell our listeners what you offer in the store?
yeah. So well, we have a lot of retail, so I'll tell that that's
And fun
kind of
retail
easier.
too.
Yes, we do
I mean,
have fun
there's some
retail.
fun clothing in there. I mean, if you have not seen, please go.
Yeah, lots of fun socks.
Yeah, the socks are great. Oh,
We
they're
have a
hilarious.
lot of local artists too. So we represent a lot of like hyper local, like Salem local artists.
Yep.
On a lot of the apparel and the shirts, it's a lot of my designs, but it's not only mine. I say majority my designs. So if you know me from the Saturday Market, Rofe Designs, that's me. And then CreativiTEE is our storefront. But and then we have a lot of local artists and then a few brands kind of that I love, like Dear John and Bagoo and so we have jeans. Everybody's like, oh, there's jeans. I was like, yeah, we have jeans, women's jeans that you can try on.
Mhm.
Um, so there's the whole retail fun.
Yep.
And I'm always finding new artists. For First Friday, we really try and highlight women makers and women artists. And so a lot of times they come and share, and then they eventually have things in the store too, which is lovely. So that's the one piece. If you need a good gift or if
Yes.
you need to grab something quick, that's an option. People are like, oh, I only thought you could come and make a shirt. And I'm like, well, there's tons of gift stuff and
Yes.
cards, all kinds of cards. Um, and then it's the creative space. So anybody can walk in and pick out their color of shirt. So they pick out an ink sheet, and I have them. If if you want to see the ink
Yes,
sheets.
I
So
do.
this is a sample like of what an ink sheet looks like. So this is pink.
Okay.
So you draw on one side and anyways.
So wait. So yeah, explain to me the process. I'm kind of dense. I don't really, I'm not into like, I don't know anything about this. So how does it work?
Woo! I'm dropping things. It's all right. So basically you get a t-shirt or, I mean, people can create, we have little stuffed animals and they can create little tiny t-shirts for the stuffed animals. You can create hats. You can create on totes. I always tell people start with a shirt because it gives you the biggest kind of space to work with, like your bigger
Yeah.
canvas.
Yep.
And then you can explore and ask us what else we have to create
Okay.
on. But I mean, you can start with whatever you want. It's just kind of nice to play around. I was like, and I always tell people there's no wrong way to do it. Like there's no perfection in art. Just have fun. Like what's the worst that can happen is you'll have a shirt that it's comfortable that you want to sleep in because, or whatever.
Yeah.
But basically you get one color, you pick your main color and then
Okay.
you'll draw on the back.
Okay.
So you can draw whatever you want. I always tell people use the big sheet, make a big design and we have stencils, but like, if you want the little heart,
Yep.
you're going to cut that out.
Okay.
See,
I'm gonna
I
check
can do
out
it without.
your skills here with around the microphone.
That's right.
Don't cut any of those cords. We'll be in trouble.
They're like, sorry. And so then there's the heart.
Okay.
And then if you want other colors, there's like scraps of other colors and stuff too. So this is like something that's already been used, right?
Yep. Yep.
If you want to layer things over, you can cut out. And we also have like hole punches. So we can make it easy it's as easier as hard as you want to make it.
Sure. Is that R for Roanna?
Probably. Sometimes I demo with letters. We have like pre-made letters, probably what was used for your hat. You can also cut out your own lettering if you're like, I really wanted it out of green or I wanted it out of pink because we have black and white lettering in 2 fonts.
Okay.
But you can cut and layer as much as you want. So you can do that.
So we got a purple
Ding, ding.
heart and then you have a green heart inside a purple heart right now. Okay.
So you can like
what
draw.
what do I do with this now?
Okay. So then you would kind of set this on your shirt wherever you wanted it to be. We would come to you.
Okay.
It's actually going to go ink side down. So if it was on your shirt, if you're like, I want it on my sleeve, we can do it on your sleeve. Okay. It's going to go ink side down, and then we have a heat press, and we heat press it. So people will refer as like, oh, like I remember in the 80s in the mall, I was like, yeah, kind of, but not really. It's a little different, but we use a heat press.
Right.
But it's screen printed ink, so it's not vinyl, which people are always like, oh, vinyl's a lot thicker. It's a little different. It's I mean, they've gotten better, but it can peel off.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is ink.
Screen printed ink. Yeah. And so we created the sheets, and then we kind of play around. So I always tell people, you never know what color you're going to get. Sometimes we have blends. Sometimes we have solid colors. Like, did I bring a blend? I don't know.
And so with screen printed ink, does that make it so you don't have this vinyl peel off like you would in the old t-shirt days?
It's different. So anytime you screen print, there is a wash life.
Yeah.
And so it just varies. So people always ask me, how do I wash? Can I wash this? I was like, yes, you can wash it. I was like, definitely. But you want to wash it inside out. But it's going to last a little bit longer. Granted, I am the least careful with my apparel. I don't know. It goes in and I'm like, I don't know. I accidentally put it on like boiling water, wash and hot, dry. I'm like, and it really doesn't impact it too much.
Okay, good. All right.
So we press multiple times too, when people are creating. So it adheres, it lasts. That's one of the biggest things I've had, like from my customers at the market. Like literally, people have come after 10 years and like, I still have this hoodie and it's still, the design is still on there. I'm like, that's great, but maybe it's time for a new one.
Yeah,
I was like, but it
it's time
lasts.
to upgrade.
I was like, good. I'm
come
so
on.
glad.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of the feedback that I have gotten. I was like, because it's the same ink that I use for the shirts that are on the floor or that I have at the market.
Yeah.
It's just a backwards process that I came up with.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you like how you differ from other, like, I guess, custom t-shirt makers in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, is this something, does anybody else do that in town?
Not as far as I know.
Really?
No, we're the only ones that do it anywhere, as far as I know. Because I think, I always tell people it's an experience. It's meant, you're meant to come in and sit down and hang out. Yes. I do get people who are like, can you just put this on a shirt for me? absolutely, we can do
Sure.
that. Um, but it's also about like bringing some friends in, sitting down and making something. I always tell people
Absolutely.
it's like the paint pottery places, but without the paint and without the pottery. And that's like the best analogy that I
Eh,
can give.
right.
It's for shirts and it's not ink that you're going to get on you. Like it's not going to come off. You're not going to make a mess
Mhm.
except from scraps on the floor and we'll clean that
Yes.
up.
Okay, I'm
But
starting to get it now. Screen printed
yes.
ink.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad we went through this process because yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
What are the thing that really just engaged me was the fact that you can have these parties, right? And you can have
Yeah.
how do those work? Tell us about that.
So we have a little space in the back where you can schedule like a birthday party or a team building event. A lot of our team building events are after hours, so you kind of have the run of the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, it varies. We can customize it as much as you want. We've had up to like 25 kids in the backspace before, which is a lot because there's usually the
Okay.
parents hovering too. But
Yeah,
anyways, um, yeah, you just kind of book a party. It can be done on our website online pretty easily. And sometimes there's themes. We have an hour and a half window for kids' birthday parties, which is usually enough time. Sometimes we have a half hour buffer between them. So it just gives us some time to clean up or
hmm
if it runs over. But sometimes they're like, I'm doing an all otter birthday party and I want everybody to make otters. We've had that.
Sweet.
So we just kind of create some otter stencils, which are like an otter silhouette and then like a few other little accessories. And then, you know, it all depends on the birthday person,
Totally.
right? If they're like, no, everybody has to do an otter, or if they're like, people can do whatever they want. For the most part, it's
Mhm.
like, here's an idea, create whatever you want to create.
And
Um,
and if you have adults, like
Adults.
what is give me the entertainment value for us old folks
Oh
who are
my word.
trying to come in and want to do some team building. Maybe their backline
Absolutely.
real estate team needs to get a little team
Yeah.
building going, huh?
Yes,
Yeah, it would
yes,
be kind of
yes.
fun. Yeah, what do you have for us?
Oh, it's an evening where again, we cater to you, whatever it is that you want. So some people are like, no, we're really focused on this right now. Like, you know,
Can we bring wine?
yeah, you
Okay,
can
great.
bring my yes. Yes, yes. The big
Okay.
question. We
Yeah,
gotta get
right,
that.
right, yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome to bring your own beverages. We
Okay.
partner with Grazing Fields Charcuterie. If you
Oh,
want to
nice.
order charcuterie, we
Mhm,
partner with Brandy's All City Sweets for
mhm.
cupcakes for the kids' birthday parties. If you want to order cupcakes,
Okay,
um, wine, we don't bring whatever drinks you want in. We have non-alcoholic cocktails for better for worse that you can purchase from us.
okay,
Um, but yeah, no, we don't really have any stipulations. If you want to
okay.
bring in your own food and your own beverages, bring it in.
Great.
Our biggest stipulation is that's an after hours event. So when
Mhm.
we're normally closed to others.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, we've done ugly Christmas sweater parties for a team one time and it was hilarious. I mean,
I
there's just
love
so
ugly
many
sweater.
things.
Yeah.
I always tell whoever's organizing it for adults especially,
Uh-huh.
it's better if you have some sort of theme, right?
Always.
Because otherwise people get really stuck
Mhm,
and they're like,
mhm.
what am I going to put on my shirt? Like I had all these ideas, but now I'm here. Um, but the conversations with the teams that go around are just amazing. Like you will just see them start, like, what do you think about this? Like, oh my word, that's a really good idea. Oh, let's do this or let's make this together. And like there's two or three that make matching shirts together, similar ones and others that are doing their own thing. Like, well, no, I'm making this, because my kid has this nickname for me. And so it's fun to see people get out of their comfort zone because it's something
Mhm.
that nobody's really done before. Everybody can kind of be unified in that, where like none of us have made a shirt this way
Mhm.
before. So, it's literally, drawing and cutting. We're all on the same like level of sketching out what we can draw. And some things are incredible and intricate,
Yeah.
and other things are really simple and turn out amazing too. So it's so fun to see all the different. I mean, I love it. We all of us that work there, we always get excited. I have one friend who doesn't work at the store, and she's like, I just want to come watch, and
Oh.
see the reveal. When
Uh,
she's like, can I just like sit in the corner? I was like, I don't know, that might be kind of weird. I was like,
well,
just ask the customers.
yeah, make sure we're clear on that first with everybody.
Yeah.
Don't want you sitting over there watching
Ah,
us. Well, the one thing you said that really stands out is the creative process.
yeah.
And I'm an only child, so I come from a very small family, so I
Okay.
didn't have I always wanted to have like brothers and sisters, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So I grew up like having like a lot of like close friends.
Mhm.
But what I found is, getting into professional soccer and being on teams, like how the creative process morphs with more people.
Mhm.
And, sometimes it can go this way depending on the energy of the group. Sometimes it
Yep.
this way, that way. But it is so much better
Yeah.
with people than it is like
Absolutely.
solo. Because if I'm sitting here doing it myself, I don't get the feedback. I don't get the energy,
Yeah.
right? But if I have my kids and I have my friends and maybe there's some refreshments as well to
Yeah.
help us, but it's like
Absolutely.
it's such a fun experience. What has been, you mentioned an ugly sweater party.
Yes.
What has been like the most, I guess, the most fun or most creative group you've had?
Ooh, that's hard. I would thought you were gonna be like, "What's been the most interesting T-shirt?" I was like, people always ask me that. I was like, "I don't know.
Nope, I haven't asked you
I
that
don't
yet. That
know."
might come.
Ah, um, they're all so fun. I don't I really have a hard time.
Mhm.
I'm not a favorites person just in
Oh,
general.
okay.
Probably like, "What's your
I'll be
favorite
careful
color?
moving
What's your
forward.
favorite movie?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "I don't know."
Okay.
Like, I like what I like when I like
Yeah.
it, and then I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Um Yeah, I mean, we had, like, a baby shower that was a lot of fun. We there was one that was, like, celebrated a one-year-old's birthday party. That was a lot of fun
Mhm.
because the one-year-old obviously wasn't making anything, but
Yeah.
everybody was making things
Making things
for
fun.
them, and it
Oh,
was
that's
so
fun.
cute.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I think the real fun is that the possibilities are endless. Like,
Mhm.
we can create on Santa hats. We can create on, stockings. We can do pop-up things with less options, but it's still possible. Um, yeah. I think the ugly Christmas sweater one stands out just because all of the sweaters were just really funny. Like they just went for it, right? I
Yeah.
think the inhibitions when you like are able to just enjoy the process and have fun with it and not worry about the outcome. I think in life in general, we worry so much about perfection or like what is it going to look like at the end or how's it going to be instead of just like enjoying what we're doing with this. Maybe we have this goal over here and that's fine, but we may not get there. It may not be what we want it to be or what we expect it to be. I was like, we still have all this time. Like, why are we not enjoying just this process of doing and being? And so I feel like that's the piece that I really try to help guide people in when they're in the store, and creating. I'm like, just have fun.
Mhm.
You can get it 100% perfect and I can still mess it up for you when I press it. That's what I tell people all the time. I was
Right.
like, let go of the perfection.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
Perfect doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's something we've created in our minds. So just
Yeah.
have fun.
I love that. That's powerful, and that is why art is what it is.
Yeah,
Because when you look at it, it can be art for you. It can be somebody can call it trash, right?
absolutely.
Whereas and you flip the script, I'm looking at from a different standpoint, and I think it goes back to yeah how you see the world, right? In terms
Hmm.
of multicultural and your experience in special ed.
Hmm.
I think that's really really cool. I want to shift a little bit on
Yeah.
into like downtown Salem
Yeah. Yeah.
because we're here, we're at this this vacant 100,000 square foot
Yeah.
building that we want to do some work on one day.
Uh-huh.
I'm curious as to like why downtown? Why did you pick downtown for your business?
I mean, people ask me that all the time when I was
Hmm.
looking. I initially was looking at the little spot where Bigwig is, and was really excited about that tiny little space. And I'm like, especially once COVID hit, I was like, oh, thank goodness I didn't get that space. So I live in South Salem. I wanted something for me that was walkable. Should I need to? I'm not a walker. I don't walk like on purpose.
Yeah.
So that's not the reason, but I was like, I want to be able to get there if I need to in the snow or, if something should happen, I want it to be close. I want it to be in my like Salem's a small community, but I also want it to be like in my personal community, right?
Hmm.
And so that's part of the reason I love downtown. I love our downtown. I love the old buildings. Um, I love the idea of a vibrant downtown. I mean, I think when we moved in, things were really starting to shift and change in downtown in 2019. It was really hard to find space. Um, there were multiple reasons, and I still love to be downtown. I was like, I think, like I said before, I'm not a big marketer. I'm just like, I'm going to show up and I'm like, come if you want. Right. I'm like,
Yeah.
which is not the best way to market. Like, I don't know. And so I was like, I need to be somewhere visible where people are, so that people can see and they can ask where people already are. And so I was like, yeah, multiple reasons for
Okay.
downtown. Yeah, I don't know. Um, it was always, important for me to be in the central area and to
Mm.
be in a nice old building.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
It-
remember when somebody told me about the space that I'm in, and I was like, it used to be all black, and you
yeah.
wouldn't know that it goes as far back as it does because the tattoo shop
Yeah.
used to be there. And
Okay.
I was like, what space? And then I drove by, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's big.
It's a great
It's
location.
yeah,
I
it's
love I love how it's inviting and colorful,
yeah.
and
Thank
it
you.
exudes good energy.
Uh,
Are you?
Good.
What do you? I'm curious. Like, what do you think of the trajectory of downtown now? Because I know, I used to work downtown.
Mhm.
My office was actually in the Burke building above
Okay.
Magoo's. So like my
Okay.
first, this was like 2016, 2017.
Okay.
And so my first kind of taste of downtown was I'm right across from the convention center.
Uh-huh.
I walk a block or two and I'm at some great food
Yeah.
destinations. And I love boutique shops and how
Mhm.
I just love how, what's the best way to put this? Just how unique all the shops are because there's not a Starbucks
Mhm.
downtown,
Mhm.
right? There's nothing really commercial about downtown in terms of like big
Mhm.
box or big names,
Yep.
right? You can go to maybe Salem Center Mall and you'll see some bigger names, but
Mhm.
you walk around and you're like, this is like small business. This is small. This is local, local, local. What do you think? And I think the trajectory has changed a little bit, but what do you think we're at right now in our downtown kind of phase?
I mean, we're still, I think, I think, what do I think?
Sorry, there's a lot to throw at you. Yeah.
I feel like we've lost a lot of really cool, small, independently owned businesses in
Mhm.
the few years that I've been here, right? I've been
Yeah.
here 6.5 years, which is
Yeah.
a longer
Yeah.
time than it feels. Like I'm like, oh wow, I've been here a while. And I think there are a lot of people with a lot of passion who aren't able to make it work, right? And that's sad to me because they're some of the coolest stores.
Yeah.
Um, so independently owned and run businesses, I think it's hard to figure out ways to keep them running in a way that's sustainable, without extra funding sources in for them. Um, and yet, when there's extra funding sources, that also changes or can potentially change their ability to do what they want.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that can be a problem. Or like some of the development is great, but then it also changes the cost for smaller, more unique businesses to be able to get in.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. I feel like we're at a kind of a weird space where who knows what's going to happen. I mean, my hope, I'm like the eternal optimist, but I hope, you know, the biggest thing I hope for downtown is that people come out, right? That people come support, that people walk around, that they feel comfortable being downtown, that they want to explore downtown, because that's what I always do. When we go to other towns, what do? We go
Mhm.
explore the downtown, the walkable area. You go walk into all the amazing shops that are
Mhm.
in that downtown. And I see people doing that. I mean, we're across from the Holman. So since the Holman moved in, we have, so, I mean, people from, Spain visit us, people all over. And I'm like, this is lovely because we're on that trajectory. I always say we're on the quiet side of downtown.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the other piece too. I was like, downtown Salem is bigger than that one street.
It sure is.
And so I think people forget, and I have people tell me all the time, "Oh, I don't go over to that side." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're like literally around the
We're not
corner."
far.
It's like we're not far, but I get
Yeah.
it. Um, so that's the I think my big hope is that people like want to explore their own downtowns. Like
Mhm.
why do we have more tourists coming in than locals?
Yes.
And seeing what we have. It's like it's an afternoon activity, for you just to walk around and see what's there. Have an amazing, treat
Mhm.
um and buy something that you haven't seen anywhere
Mhm.
else. So
Mhm.
or make it.
Right, or yeah, or make that
Make
treat,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the crux of, everyone who's put an investment in downtown, and speaking
Mhm.
for AJ, who isn't here, but, the 2 of us, we really believe strongly in bringing people back downtown and creating
Mhm.
spaces for people to come back down. That's, part of our investment in this forge,
Yeah.
and, part of our, investment in this building is just yeah, the downtowns are the living rooms of communities,
Yeah.
right? And can we get people to come back down and restore faith in some
Mhm.
ways, and also give them things to do?
Yeah.
What do you think? I'm curious. Well, I got you on the hot seat. What do you
Yeah.
think in terms of things to do downtown? What do you think downtown needs the most to bring people back? What one thing do you think we could offer downtown that would just this would bring people in?
My mind goes right away. I was like, a little, like, trolleys or a little, like, pedal
Oh,
bikes,
that
pedicabs. I
that
mean,
sounds
that's
fun.
where my mind goes, but I don't
Yeah.
know. That's not, like,
Uh,
the main thing, right?
right.
I don't know. I think, to be quite honest, I think people need to be literally held by the hand and brought in these days. Like,
Mhm.
it's kind of a weird concept, but I was like, it has to be friends that they know, bringing them and saying, "Hey, let's go together," which is kind of a weird way to put it. But there are a lot of people who have gotten used to just hanging out at home
Yeah.
and ordering what they need online,
Mhm.
and not. It maybe be in part of it's fear. I mean, part of it's anxiety. Part of it is I don't know what it is, but it's just this. When you haven't done something for a while, which I think is what COVID did to a lot of people, kind of got them into these new routines. um, it takes somebody that you trust, like coming alongside you and being like, hey, we're going to go and do this together so that you feel comfortable in this space.
Mhm.
And it's a lot slower. It's not like a big grand movement, I don't think. I feel like it's a lot slower thing where it's like it's a bunch of committed individuals working with maybe their neighborhood communities and saying, hey, we're going to go explore this and find this out and come together.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know that there's like the big festivals are and the parades, they're great shows, but they don't really support or help the businesses downtown in all honesty. And many times they hinder our our business on those days,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Right, they're taking up the
So
parking and
yeah.
yeah.
And so people who would normally come downtown
Mhm.
are like, I'm not coming down that day.
Yeah.
Like I can't find anywhere like or
Interesting.
um and I'm like, it's a things there are some great events, and I think there's but recognizing the real impact they're having on the businesses that are keeping downtown what it is,
Mhm.
like, is
Mhm.
important too. So,
Absolutely.
anyways.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think that is part of like our marketing plan too is like, hey, like Roanna, if you haven't been downtown, come downtown and join us, and
Yeah.
bring a friend who hasn't been downtown in a
Yeah.
while, right? It
Absolutely.
probably needs to be more grassroots at this point in time, and
Yeah.
that's okay. And we've talked about partying our way out of this as well, like throwing as many parties as we possibly can,
Yes.
which is quite daunting, but also something I think we have to do as a community, and you're a
Mhm.
community builder, and and you obviously recognize the importance of that. I'm curious, like, what are you doing when you're not, um, you know, running creativity?
What do
Yeah,
I
what
do?
is
What do I
your
do for
yeah,
fun? It
what
is what
else?
I do for
Yeah, that
fun.
is fun.
Yeah. Oh god. I mostly just spend time with my kiddo.
Okay.
So, he's in middle school and we have these little electric scooters that we like to tool around on. So I was like, it's my way to get out. I'm like I said, I'm not a walker. I'm like, I will ride a bike on flat ground, right? But I'm not the like I'm gonna get out and exercise, even though I was all into sports for a long time. But um, so yeah, we'll ride around on our little electric scooters. We'll explore. We'll go to things that he's interested in or places that he's interested in. So literally, like I'm like, what do you want to do? What are you? It's like I want to look at Legos or I'm gonna look at the Hot Wheels or whatever it is. It's like let's go do it. Like, um, and so really focusing on I'm like, we're not ordering that online. Where are we gonna find it here? Let's go. We're gonna. So he's like, so he makes me drive around and figure it out. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, let's go figure it out. Um, but yeah, and then spending time with my extended family as well. So my parents are in the area and my
Great.
nieces and friends. I mean, I think I enjoy doing like everything once, I guess, if that makes sense. Like I'm
Mhm.
like anything that I haven't done. So to say that I have like specific hobbies that I do all the time is not that. But I was like my kiddo, he's like, I want to go to Mount Bachelor. I don't know. I Native Oregonian, and I don't know I can't tell the difference.
The closer one is Mount Hood.
Okay, I don't know. It's in Bend. The one in Bend,
Oh, that's
Mount Bachelor.
Bachelor. Yeah,
Okay,
that's Bachelor,
Bachelor.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I want to like go zip lining off of Mount Bachelor. He's like, he like studies. Like, it's the longest, the deepest, like the furthest down. I don't know, the longest zip line in the Pacific Northwest or whatever. Let's
I didn't
go.
know there was a
So
zip line over there.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So we
cool.
went and I was like, oh, they're like, you get up to 90 miles per
Yeah.
hour. And this last one, I was like, okay. I
Yeah.
was like, great. How fast were you going before? I was like, I love doing stuff like that. Like I don't have fear of heights or things like that. I'm like, but it's like, so sign me up. I'll do it
That's awesome.
once. But I'm like, now that I've done it, I was like, that's great. That was fun.
Right. Well, I love that spirit you have. I mean, the creativity you have, willing to do everything once.
Yeah.
I wish more people had that. And the way you're seeing the world, I think we could use more people like yourself. How can people find you or your business?
Yeah. So we're downtown, right by Masonry Grill. We're on the corner of State and Commercial, so it's 110 Commercial Street Northeast. We also just recently opened an annex in McMinnville, so
Oh, you
it's
did?
in Mac Market, which is on Alpine Street. So it's not on 3rd Street. It's off kind of like in the Granary District.
Yeah.
It's kind of a new little up and coming area. There's an Airstream in there, and we're in the Airstream for the time being.
Cool.
We're just kind of playing it as we go and see how it goes there. Try and share what we do with another community. And then we're at the Saturday market here and there in our little teal trailer. So people know us by the little teal trailer. But yeah, and then our website has a lot of information. It's Creativity Space, and it's TEE. Like, so creativity. Everybody's like, CreativiTEE, CreativiTEE. I was like, I don't know. I can never pick the right name. I was like, it's Creativity, TEE at the end.
Okay. Hey, it's a
Like,
process.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all good. Yeah. So that's kind of
Okay.
where we're at.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It
Yeah,
was an
thank
absolute pleasure to
you.
talk to you. And
Same.
I really, I want to have an event at your business,
Yay.
and I want others to experience it too, because I was so
Yeah.
impressed. So thank you so much.
Oh,
And thanks
for
for what
sure.
you're doing downtown.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to connecting with you again soon.
Yeah. Thank you.